Welcome to We Need to Talk, where we discuss how to find meaning in life and how to reduce unnecessary suffering. In this episode, we dive into the opposition between science and religion and how they're actually very similar, and science is almost like a religion in itself. We also discuss, of course, how to find meaning in life, and finally, the dangers of artificial intelligence, because we're trying to replicate our brain and we do not even understand our psyche, our brain properly. So enjoy the episode and subscribe, of course. Let's go.
The way I see science is like the motivation behind science is really just to understand reality and understand how things work. And I think religion tried to do exactly the same thing. I think, well, one of the things it aimed to do was it's a heuristic, it's a let's say, just take the example of the Bible. It's a kind of a book which tries to explain humans and human life and even human biology, not necessarily with the same terms as modern
Yes.
day biology does, but it's an attempt to understand how things are working and also how to live in a way that is good, whatever that means, but live in a way that is good. But people nowadays, I think, like, the religion has sort of been devalued, and I can understand why it's happened. But and science comes out on top as sort of the winner. But the problem is science very often does not leave any room for other ways of thinking, or like the arrogance of science, if, in some sense, is like, well, if we can't measure it, it means it's not there,
Yes,
which
yes,
is
yes.
really dangerous, I think. And I think a lot of people nowadays suffer from nihilism and believing like we're only here to reproduce, the species wants us to stay alive, and like that's really it, as if there's like nothing else to be, nothing, there's nothing valuable to be experienced in life. Do you have anything to say to that?
Oh, I completely agree with you that science sometimes is very arrogant because if it's not arrogant, we cannot get the answers of very, very important questions. Of course, when science meets some interpretation of life which are not biologically proven and are not biologically how to say it, significant, authorized, is something that we really get sometimes arrogant. But we definitely don't undervalue religion because, as I said, religion is also science. Religion is based on science. Religion is based on mathematics, is based on psychology, is based on biology. So a lot of sciences are inside religion. And even science can be a religion. We scientists believe in our science, so we are also religious about this science. About biology, for example, about genetics. Of course, if someone tell me that if I pretty much desire to have a blue-eyed child without having the genes, someone can give me this gift, I will be arrogant because I will say, oh, but it's not possible, Henry, because this is not in the genetics, this is not proven, this is arrogancy, because it cannot happen per se. But if someone told me, okay, I believe in this, and I had a dream about it, and it happened on the next day, I should say, okay, there is something that we cannot understand, but yes, this happens to me too. So I also have this deja vu. I also have these experiences of something that really thrilled me during my dreams and happened in 2 days after that. So I cannot explain it. I'm a scientist, but I don't say this does not exist because it happens to me. So I believe that religion and science are together. Yeah, sometimes they really go against each other. Sometimes it's important because this is the way truths are born, okay, in these disputes, in these discussions and so on, of course, when they are done in a good will, okay, in a good way. So science and religion should be together because we're also religious about our science. I am religious about the biology, about genetics. And I speak with passion about the science because I really believe in it. Okay, sometimes I cannot explain why 1 plus 1 in biology does not make two, but yet it's biology and it's my science. So I continue to dig for the answers of these unanswered questions, which probably answered in the Bible, but yet we did not get the things that we should measure in order to be sure for them. But it does not mean that I abolish this religion. On the contrary, I try by scientific means to answer these questions which are raised in the Bible in a scientific way, sometimes very difficultly.
And that's awesome what you say. I don't talk to, let's say, scientists very often because they're not really in my network, I would say. But is your opinion the one you just sort of explained, where you sort of see the importance in religion and science? Is that something that a lot of scientists share, or is that more of like a an alternative perspective?
Depends on what kind of scientists we talk about, because okay, biologists maybe are more open-hearted, okay, because we deal with the science of life, and life is a mystery, even for us. So we may know all the mechanisms for DNA reproduction and for the human reproduction and everything about the processes for disease happening and so on. But yet we don't have many answers on the magic of life. And that's why I think that we are much more open-minded as scientists, biologists. But this is because I'm a biologist, okay? If we speak with a mathematician, maybe he will be so open-hearted also. So I cannot generalize.
Yeah.
But from my perspective of view, biologists, molecular biologists, know that the galaxy inside ourselves are as complicated as the galaxy outside ourselves, and we're ready to speculate on many other non-scientific facts also. Because I believe that a scientist is someone that should be very open-minded and be able to meet with questions, and questions which answers even the scientist doesn't know, in order to provoke the will and the inside instinct for curiosity and start digging for the answers. At the moment he cannot find them in his own science, like biology, to go outside, to go for astronomy, to go for chemistry, to go for mathematics, just to look for these answers, to be open-hearted. That's the most important thing. So we should not ban anything in our lives. So we just have to try to understand it by scientific and non-scientific means, because I think that this is what an intelligent mind should do in life. Be ready to be challenged, be ready to be put in sometimes not so comfortable, or let's say confusing situations, because this is important to make tricks on your mind, and be ready to just puzzle yourself. So I hope that many scientists are like me, because for me this is what the scientist should be: a curious perpetual adolescent. Otherwise we are doomed for an arrogant science that nobody understands.
Uh-huh. And I mean, the scientist you just portrayed, what comes to my mind is confidence, and you need to be able to let go of the previous map of reality that you had, because you thought this is how it works, and then something comes that proves it wrong. You need to be able to let go and say,
Of
okay.
course.
But a lot of people, not just scientists, but I think people generally are very insecure nowadays. I don't know if they were more confident in the past because I wasn't around then, but do you have a suspicion why people are so insecure?
My hypothesis is because there is a lot of information in the media around, in the network, and some of this, let's say, very big proportion of this information is fake. And this fake news is something that makes us very insecure, because no one can be secure now what's going on in the internet. And if you need an answer to a certain question, are you sure that this is the answer? when you find 100 websites explaining this thing in the other way. So how we should filtrate this information is something that will make us more secure. This is a very big problem now because, yes, people were more confident because they were relying on books, they were relying on textbooks, and these textbooks were written by people who were supposed to understand the things they write. Moreover, they have been went through reviewers, through editors. Now in the internet, you can find whatever you want. You can find even answers to what is galaxy. Okay, and all the everything can be explained in some kind of fake websites, and people don't have the, how to say, the mindset to filtrate this information, because no one ever teach us in life how to filtrate this information and how to find the information that is really normal, that is really scientifically proven, and not only scientifically proven, but also built and structured in the best possible way for the people to understand it. That's why people are insecure. And of course, because life is changing too fast. So now everything is changing in the field of biology. We read genomes, we speak about techniques for gene editing of humans, we speak about designer babies, we speak about in vitro fertilization techniques, we speak about tree parents already, we speak about biohacking, and it's only biology, and all these threats coming from all the parts around us. We speak about COVID, okay, everything is making people insecure. And even about COVID, you can find so many information and you cannot even orientate yourself. We biologists have problems to filtrate this information, what to say for the normal people that don't have a biological education. They should be panicking so much that I cannot even picture myself. So many people call me on my mobile. Should we be afraid? What should happen? Are you sure? Did you read this? Is it true? Wait. Calm down is my answer anytime, and we start to discuss. But I okay, this is only my friend, my friends. Okay, what about the other people? They're lost in this ocean of information. So this is the first reason why we are so much confused. We are much insecure today because too much information is around us,
Yeah.
and it's not proven, it's not checked, it's not significant.
Well, I think problem with the difficulty to determine what is true and what is wrong, what is false, is that doing science is really difficult. Like trying to make a valid experiment, a reliable, valid experiment, super difficult. And I mean, during my bachelor and masters, I had to do like write a thesis, and it's all, I mean, it's a scientific one, and even I struggle with with
Sure.
understanding the complexity of just how to make an experiment reliable, so like and valid, make so you're really testing how X affects Y, if it's like a causal analysis.
In
And
in
for
in
an
biology
average.
is even more difficult because you deal with biological life systems. So I'm experiencing these difficulties every day in our lab experiments.
Yeah, with all like confounding variables and all this sort of stuff. Like how is an average person supposed to understand or be able, like the dream would be to have science, and then each individual will be able to read the scientific article and discern themselves, is this experiment reliable, is it valid, yes or no. The average person can't do that.
No, definitely not, because the scientific language in biology, for example, is quite different. Okay, so not every person can read and can understand, because all the experiments, all the analyses that are done inside is so difficult to be explained to in a popular way that people cannot understand. But we can be sure in this information when it is connected with scientific facts, which means that when we try to describe a situation that is linked to biology, it's much more easy to make an experiment that is reliable, okay? Because we know which parts of the system to change in order to get the outcome we need or to then don't get it. So if we get this outcome, the conclusion is one. If we don't get, the conclusion is another one. And here it's much easier to find which is true and which is false, okay? But when we speak about psychology, when we speak about intelligence, when we speak about subconsciousness, are things that when you set an experiment to find an answer, you face very big difficulties because you don't know which factors to change from the system, because you don't know you cannot name these factors, okay? You don't know them, you don't recognize them. So how can you change these factors in order to get the answers you need? This is something that should be differentiated when we speak about biology, genetics, epigenetics. Maybe it's much easier, though we also experience very big problems when we look for one truth or the other, considering the human genome. But I think this is the beauty of science, because the more you try, the more you get to know the system, and the more you get to know the system, the better you moderate it. Okay, so you can change factors, you can get outcomes, and you can get the certain answer. This is the same with life, not only biology, but with life per se.
Speaking of like the beauty of life, I just want to ask you one more question. I mean, very just like personally, in your eyes, do you see or do you understand or do you know what the meaning of life is?
I think that it's very personal question, which means that for me, the meaning of life can be one, for my daughter, the other one, for you, another one, for me. My meaning of life is, of course, to live a decent life, to live a healthy life, and to try to know more about biology, to try to know more about human beings, to try to know more about the earth, to try to know more about human relationships, to try to know more about my subconsciousness and the subconsciousness of my surrounding people. This is something which makes my life beautiful. Every day to learn something new about the way a human being is being living his or her life in the
And
modern
what,
times.
but why does that give you joy, or why does learning something new, why
Because
do you
this is
like
the
that?
curiosity. We scientists are like children, we like to play. We like to play with the biological systems. We like to turn on and off genes to see what's going on, with the mere understanding that this is good for the human beings. Because the more I know about these genes, the better I know how to manipulate them when a pathological process happens, for example. So this is what drives me: the curiosity to know myself better, the curiosity to look inside myself and to see how and why I react in one way or the other, why I start to resemble to my parents, how I should change this mindset that has been inherited by them, by their genomes and epigenomes, why I don't like something or I like another thing, and why the same genetics in my daughter, for example, is quite differently being expressed because I have been raising her this way. So many things that I want to find answers in this life, that I think that one life is not enough. So this is the beauty where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Self-improvement, self-education, self-observation, self-monitoring, just to be a better human being.
Mm-hmm. But that curiosity just a survival instinct?
It's
Or
part of the survival instincts, definitely,
mm-hmm.
because the more curious you are, the more chances finding things that are good for you are appearing, and
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. Because people say curiosity killed the cat. So you should be very careful following your instincts. But yes, curiosity is one of these instincts, because if we have not been curious in the ancient times, there wouldn't have been Homo sapiens nowadays. So we wouldn't have been able to talk about these topics today on this level of conversation. So this curiosity brought us here, and it's part of our instincts, it's part of human evolution, and it's part of the progress of human beings and of science also.
So I mean, the sort of motivation behind my question of like, what's the meaning of life is I'm trying to obviously figure it out, and I think I have some very good ideas. But one key important detail I think is, I'd like to hear what you think, is that the meaning of life, like you said, it's a personal thing, but there are certain areas where you increase the likelihood of finding it. Like the curiosity guides you, which is an instinct. However, you have the conscious the conscious, the ability to make a conscious choice and actually not follow your curiosity, always stay in the same area, never leave your comfort zone. And people live like that. But there's
Yes.
like, it's like your instincts guide you in here, and the meaning of life is somewhere to be found here. It's not here. Like it's in a
Yes.
certain direction.
Yes, yes, but it's also driven by the genetics that I have received from my parents, because the way you have been raised gives you this adaptability to be curious, because to be curious means to be brave. And if you've been raised in a family where you have been underestimated, you have not been provoked to be different, to go forward, no matter what will happen, no matter how painful it will be, no matter how much suffering you're gonna get. It means that your parents have been pushing you toward your self-development. This is what people should understand, because the more you take care of your child, the more excellent conditions you develop for this child, the less adaptability you give to your child, and this child then goes into this part of the population which is heavily grounded without being able to change anything. So to be adaptable means to be flexible, and to be flexible means to be curious, and to be curious means to be brave. But this is educated throughout your whole life, and this is our responsibility as adult people when we raise our children, to give them the will and the freedom to follow their dreams, no matter how much suffering they will face one day. But the moment they face this suffering, they will know that this is for the best of their living, because it means being able to face challenges. And being able to face challenges is something that drives human progress in any sense.
Very powerful, very powerful.
Well, this
That's
is true. This is
I
my
definitely
religion.
I definitely agree with that. Just one more thing though, that message, the one you just said, is totally underrepresented. People don't really encourage engaging in struggle, or it's like a whole sort of, a lot of the parts of our society are just aimed at actually decreasing struggle.
Exactly, unfortunately.
And that's I think that is actually, I don't know what the core root of that is, or what causes that. I mean, I have some suspicions, but it's dangerous that people aren't noticing that you need stress to grow, that
Definitely.
listening to the biology. So
Definitely. People mistaken the situation for excellent conditions of living, for conditions that no stress and no challenges ever been faced, because these really prevent you from being adaptable and flexible. This is something that people don't understand, because okay, I want to give everything to my child. I do everything I do my best to give her everything. But then I realized that these excellent conditions that I create for her is not something really good, because she will not be able to fight, she will not be able to be proactive in the good sense. She has to be brave enough to follow the dreams without being looking for the mommy or the daddy around to help at any point when difficulties are faced, but to be confident that no matter what will happen tomorrow, whether there will be another one pandemic or something else, she will be able to strive. She will be able to survive because she knows how to follow the instincts for survival. But not only survival, but also for self-development, because the more you self-develop yourself, the more you self-improve yourself, and the faster you adapt to the changing environment. This is the
Mm.
motto that I believe in, and I try to transmit to my daughter also. This is very important. And I also try to educate parents, future parents, that it's something that you should give to your children. Not only the perfect iPhone or the most expensive clothes ever. No, on the contrary, you should put them under certain stress conditions in order to grow a human being. And people say one talent can be born only under conditions of limitations. The moment you give everything, you lose the possibility of the mind to develop and to, to, to be following the genuity of human nature.
Mm. That's really strong.
This
That's
is
the
this is important, by the way, even from a biological point of view,
no.
because this explains this moderate stress that is keeping your body fit, your body, your systems, your genes, your genetics, your intelligence, your mind, and thus form your mindset of a human being that can adapt.
Mm. And I think the reason the, the fact that so many people don't understand that, or don't not even just understand it, but don't even know about it, is a symptom of how little it's a symptom of a dissociated society. Like we're like our intellect is here and our body is like somewhere here. It's like
Exactly.
it's not in sync. um
And the biggest problem is that we try to create an artificial intelligence. We cannot control our intelligence inside our body, but we also create something that will guide our life to another one direction. But this is a topic that we can discuss after that, because it's also an ocean of possibilities. But you're very much right that the intelligence is here, the mind is here, and the body is shifted away, and we cannot make the link in between them. But this is the key to human survival, the key to human being, the key for the beauty of life, to have body and mind in one.
hmm. That's so awesome. I'm happy we concluded with that. What you just said with the idea of building artificial intelligence, it's like we're trying to replicate our mind and we don't even understand our mind.
Exactly.
I haven't thought
Yet
of
we
that.
don't. Yeah.
That's really
Then
terrifying.
this is really dangerous. Yes.
That's really
Yes, it is
terrifying.
in the core of human progress, of technological progress, but yet we are very far from understanding how it will be functioning, and we are far from understanding because we don't understand the human biology. We don't understand the human brain yet. The dark matter in the human being, in the human biology, in the human mind and brain is so deep that yet we don't know even 1% of what's happening inside. And we are running to create an extraterrestrial life. We are running to create artificial intelligence without being friends with our own nature, with ourselves. So this is something that we should be panicking about. And maybe here stands these discussions like your podcast. We need to talk. We need to talk about so many things from different perspectives, from the perspective of science, from religion, from different sciences, from different generations, just to find the truth somewhere in the middle, maybe. Who
Hmm.
knows?
Damn. Awesome. So many things are just coming to my mind with the
I'm sure.
artificial intelligence. Like, I mean, I would love to talk about that another time,
We will,
because that's
definitely.
like opening a whole new universe. Because I
Definitely.
think the thought came to me recently. I think we're being a bit greedy.
Too
We're trying
much.
to grow we're
Too much.
yeah, trying to run too fast.
too much. And I'm very much afraid that this will doom ourselves and human beings.
So do you think the environment will shift faster than we can react,
The
basically?
environment is shifting too much faster
Yeah.
nowadays, and we're not ready. We're not
Yeah.
ready to counteract nor to adapt.
Yeah.
So this is something really facing as a very big problem nowadays. How we're gonna solve it, I don't know yet, but it's really frightening. And you're very much right. We are too much greedy, too much moving faster without putting any logic in the things that we do. And this is frightening. This is horrifying to some extent. Even we scientists are horrified by the pace the human progress is going on. But let's see. As we said, the genes are resilient. So whether we will be Homo sapiens or Homo from the future, who knows what will happen? But there will be living organisms. Be sure about it. But in what kind of a state of biological system? I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
Let's see. But it's
Yeah.
challenging. Yeah.
I think the key way to stay healthy or to prevent the destruction of humanity is just speak the truth
Definitely.
and
I
talk.
stand behind this. You can say it twice. I stand behind this, speaking
Yeah.
the truth, raising important topics up with a raised voice just to make people listen. And the more young people listen, the better will be the future of this planet. That's why I agreed to participate in your podcast, because I was amazed. I told Georgia, I am amazed by these young people to speak on topics the way they do, so profoundly exploring the field. I'm impressed. That's why I said, okay, yes, I'm really busy these weeks, believe me. But I said, I definitely I will take part, because this is something that it's important for me as a scientist and as a human being also.
Well, thanks a lot for that compliment. It's
No, that's
difficult
it.
because um, a lot of people. I noticed that the topics, the discussions I have are a bit. Not a lot of people are having them, and you start to think, "Am I weird or like what's going on? Like, is it strange?"
You don't know how many times I ask myself, what's wrong? Am I crazy or the world around is?
Mm,
So don't worry. This is part of our progress as human beings. So no, we are not drunk. The others are. So we
mhm.
should speak louder. Okay.
That's
This is important.
awesome. That's just exploration, I guess.
Definitely. Definitely.
Awesome. So I think we're going to wrap up here. That was
Okay.
an awesome talk. We went through a lot of topics,
Too many. Yes.
a lot of complex topics, and I love it how we ended on understanding a bit of an analysis of where society lies and how we can try and, well, we need to basically ground ourselves more in our biology and understand ourselves before
Definitely.
we run too far into the next game, really. So Milena, is there any last words or anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm really happy to be part of this podcast today, and I'll be happy if we continue this conversation in other podcasts. I'll be happy if we have discussions with other people. Will be really fun. If you think about other biological questions that you're interested in, feel free to address them to me. I'll be really happy if I can help, but not only help, but I also self-develop myself in this way, because I see what you people are interested in, and I can see where the society is going on. And I think it has a future with young people like you, because this is important. This is important, not to
Mm.
be like the mass of the people somewhere down, but to try to strive up, to go up, to ask and answer questions, to raise discussions on very important topics like we did today. So it was my pleasure. Thank you for
Awesome.
inviting me.
Awesome. I already know, I can tell you, I have a lot of questions still
We
to
can
ask. And
discuss.
so I'll be absolutely very excited to continue with more episodes on this podcast. And thanks a lot for finding the time. It's also like, I mean, you said it's good that I ask these questions, but also to see guidance from other generations is like it makes a big difference, because you feel like, okay, someone can show the way or transfer the knowledge. That's also what I wanted to aim with a podcast, is to transfer knowledge from other generations onto the
very important.
the new generation. So
from unsatisfied adolescents to become satisfied adolescents after all.
Hopefully that's what
very cool.
What I'm aiming for. So I'll put Milena's contacts and details in the description, so for you to check out. Also her TED Talk, which I can highly recommend. And so everybody, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
So I'll just stop recording.